Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be cooking a Sunday roast. So what we're going to have today, I've got pork as the main meat. I'm going to do a few pigs in blankets, so I've got some chipolata sausages there and I've got some streaky bacon there. I'm going to do some stuffing, and for the veggies I'm going to do mashed potato and roast potatoes. I'm going to do mashed swede, carrot and some peas, and I'm also going to do some homemade gravy, and Yorkshire puddings. So let's get cracking. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to make some what we call pigs in blankets, and basically I'm just using streaky bacon. Now sometimes I would use smoked, but this one isn't, but it's just personal preference. So all you do is, and I am honestly getting a tripod, my other one broke. All you do is put that on there and you literally just wrap your bacon around the sausage, hence why we call it a pig in a blanket. And that's it. So I'm just going to prep a few more of them so we have enough for the dinner. So there's the pigs in blankets done. So I'm just going to cover these with a bit of cling film, and I'm just going to pop them in the fridge for later. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make my Yorkshire puddings. So to make Yorkshire puddings, I use milk, eggs and plain flour. So how I do it, everybody will have their own way of doing it, is equal quantities of the three things. And in my jug here, I put my flour in first, up to 200ml. So you can see here, there's your mil. So I put my flour in first to 200, then I take it to 400ml with my eggs, then I take it to 600ml when I add the milk in, and then I blitz it all up. I can't tell you how many eggs it will take to get to that, because it depends on how, usually it's about 5 or 6 eggs, usually. But just depends on how big your eggs are. So I do 200ml of flour, 200ml of eggs and 200ml of milk, and then just blitz it all up. So there's the flour there, that's at 200ml. So that's up to 400ml there, and it only took 4 eggs. So it varies each time depending on the size of your egg. And that's the milk in there now. And that's taken that up to 600ml. So there's me Yorkshire pudding mix. So all I'm going to do now, you can whisk it with a fork, with a handheld whisk or a blitzer. It's up to you how you mix it. So I'm going to use my whisk and I'm going to get it all mixed up nice and smooth into a batter. So I thought I pressed record there, but I didn't. So what I was saying was, I usually add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt into my batter mix, give it a bit mix with a fork, and there you have it. There's your Yorkshire pudding mix ready. So for the stuffing mix, I just use this packet mix, and I'm just going to put some in a bowl, and I tend to just eyeball it, to be honest. I don't measure the water and things out, but I just boil the kettle, and we're just going to pour some boiling hot water over the top of our mixture, and then just keep mixing and mixing until the water is absorbed. You might need a little bit more adding in, so if you do and you want it a bit more less firm, just add a bit more water, but just however you like your stuffing. But just be aware that the bread crumbs in the mixture will soak everything up. So this is the pork loin that I got. It's salt aged pork crackling loin joint, and it was $10.34 just from in Tesco, and you've got a nice bit of sage on the top of it there. So we'll get this opened and we'll get it sorted. Now usually the scoring isn't really that good on the joints of meat, but it seems alright on these, but I'm just going to go down a little bit more with a sharp knife just to get better crackling basically. So we're just going to go down a little bit more in the currant scores. So just make sure that they're nice and deep in there. And hopefully we'll get some nice crackling. So that's it, scored there, just a little bit more. I accidentally went through the string, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pop my sage on there, and we're just going to leave this out for a little bit, and then it'll just dry naturally. And once the drier it is on the top, the better crackling that you get, apparently. We'll see, won't we? See how it turns out. So all I'm going to do next with my potatoes is I'm just going to wash them under the tap, and I'm just going to put them in here. Now I'm just going to put the ones that I'm going to roast in here, because I am going to par cook them. Some people do, some people don't, and then I'm going to whack them in the air fryer to do roasties with them. So I'm just washing them basically. So there's the potatoes on the hob, and I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in the water and just bring them to the boil for about 5 minutes, if that, just to slightly soften them, and then I'll whack them in the air fryer. So all I'm doing with some of the leftover potatoes is I'm just going to peel them ready for mash. There's all my potatoes peeled there, so I'm just going to pop them into one of the baskets for the steamer. And you just do as much veg as what you're going to need for your family, or you know, however much you can eat basically. So that's enough there to do us for the mash. Next thing that I'm going to sort out is my swede, and I only need about half of this because there's only like me, Carl, and then the dogs for any leftovers and stuff. So I'm just going to do half, cut it in half and peel it. So that's it, cut up there. That'll be enough for us. As I say, there's only me and Carl who like it, so I'm going to wrap this back up and pop it in the fridge. So that's it peeled there, so I'm just going to chop it up into bite-sized pieces and get it put into my other steamer basket. And we'll put that on to steam. So that's on there. I'm going to obviously pop the lid on. Now, it won't take long, maybe about 20 minutes or so, but it's just until your swede has gone soft. So that's my pork there. It's been out of the fridge and just resting here for about 30 minutes. As per earlier, we put some deeper sort of score lines in just to try and get a bit better crackling. So I'm going to pop this into the oven now. I'm on gas mark 7, and it'll be for about an hour and 15. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my parboiled potatoes into the air fryer tin. Obviously I'm going to drain the water off them first. So that's them going in there. And I haven't peeled these, it's totally optional. You can if you want to. We haven't. So they go in there, and I do spray just a little bit of the Frylight oil stuff on the top, and they get whacked into the air fryer 200 degrees just until they're cooked. So what I'm going to do now, so we've got the turnip and the potatoes on, they're steaming away. I've got the parboiled potatoes in the air fryer just ready to go on. I've got the pork in the oven cooking away. I'm just going to prep our gravy. So this is how we do our gravy, and I say we, this is Carl's recipe, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So we've got some shallots there, we've got some garlic, a beef stock pot, some vegetable stock pot, some mint sauce, and some HP fruity. And after a little bit I will put a tablespoon of Bistro gravy in as well, but first off I'm going to chop these shallots up and peel and chop the garlic. So there's our shallot chopped up, and I'm just going to lightly fry it off. So while the onions there are just frying off, I've just peeled the skin off the garlic, and I'm just going to pop it in the crusher ready for a minute's time. Now I do have a little bit of bacon here that needs using up, so I'm just going to chop this up and pop it in with the onions. So I'm just going to use my scissors to chop them up into little bits like this, what you can see in the pan. So that's all about bacon chopped up. So I'm just going to lightly fry that and cook it off with the onions. So as that's cooked down, I'm going to add my crushed garlic. Whoa. Put that into the pan. So the next thing I'm going to add in is our beef stock cube. I'll be adding in our vegetable stock cubes now. Next in goes a tablespoon of mint sauce. And next goes our HP fruity sauce. And don't worry about all this on the bottom, the catching, because it's all flavour and it will come off once we add the next ingredients. So what I've done, I've just added a little bit of water to begin with, just so that I can get all of my stock and everything, stock cubes and that melted down, and just scrape that bottom and the sides of the pan so all the flavour comes off and it goes into your gravy. And then I'm going to add a little bit more water and just bring it up to about halfway, because this is gradually thickening as the stock cubes are melting down. So that's it, and I'm just going to now leave this and I'm just going to let it come to the boil and just simmer away. And there's our gravy almost done. Towards the end I just add a tablespoon of Bisto and possibly some corn flour, like a cornstarch slurry type thing, just to thicken the gravy up if it needs it. And that's it, the gravy's done. Now our gravy's at the sort of boiling point. I'm just going to add 2 Bisto and that's it, done. Just bring it back to the boil so the Bisto sort of dissolves and all mixes in with the current mixture, and then that's your gravy done. If you want it a little bit thicker, then just add a cornstarch slurry, which is basically a tablespoon of cornstarch mixed with some water into a liquid paste. So these are my Yorkshire pudding tins and they're well used, so just excuse them. So I use lard, so I'm just putting a little bit in each like hole, if you like. Some people will use oil, but I don't. I just use lard, and these are literally just used for Yorkshire puddings. So I'm going to get all of my lard put into the holes, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes until it's smoking hot. So because our pudding mixture's just been sort of stood for a while, it'll sort of settle. So I'm just giving that another, just a bit mix with a fork, just so that everything mixes back up again while we're waiting on the batter heating up. So the next thing I'm going to do my stuffing balls, and I'm just going to use a spoon and I'm just going to get some out, because this stuffing here is what we made earlier and it's nice and cool. I've washed my hands, and all you do is just roll it into a ball, and then we're just going to bake them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes, and then they'll be cooked. So there's me tin out. I'm just going to add my batter mix in. It should sizzle a little bit more than that, but I've had the pan out because I've had to shuffle the oven around a bit with the pork still in, but it doesn't matter, they'll still rise. So the peas and the carrots are what I do last. So I put the peas in there, and I have peeled the carrot and just chopped them up. The reason I do them last is because we don't like them too soft and too soggy, so I cook them so that they're just nice. I tend to think if you overcook the carrots, they just go like tasteless. So I'm gonna now pop these into the steamer as well, the carrots that is. The pigs in blankets that we cooked earlier on, they're going into the air fryer. So number 2, 200 degrees for about 10 minutes or 12 we'll put it on. So there's our pigs in blankets done. I've got some sort of roasty new potato type things and our stuffing balls in there, nearly done. Potatoes mashed, Then we just need to mash the turnip and just waiting on the Yorkshire puddings, a couple of minutes. So there's the pork, that's cooked. It's not the best crackling in the world. I think Carl does better crackling than me, but there you go. It's nice nonetheless. So Carl's going to cut this up for us now. So that's pretty much everything done now, guys. I'm just going to start plating up. So what you will see next is just us plating up.